I have to develop a steady hand when I hold this phone and I'm walking around. I notice when I play it back, it's all shaking around and everything. Maybe there should be like a stabilization feature on this thing or something. But it doesn't do that with anyone else but me. Maybe because I walk fast, I don't know. Yeah. Whew. Just out here getting my jog on. You know what I'm saying? I do 50 minutes. I jog in one direction for 25 and then another direction 25. And then sometimes in between, after the first 25-minute session, I take a break and, you know what I mean, just walk around a little bit, slow it down a little something, and then pick the pace back up and zip myself on by back in, you know, whatever the other direction was in, you know. So that's where I'm at now. It's this peaceful, sunny day. I'm saying 36th Street and something. And whatever the fuck this is, I don't know, 36th Street something. Nobody in the thing yet? In the thing yet? Oh man, what's going on in the world today that the people say? So Donald Trump has been admitted to Walter Reed Medical Center. And the people have to check the latest updates on what they said his condition is with that, you know, little virus situation. One big clear misconception that they kind of deceived people into believing. They put a light spin on it, right? With Trump's coronavirus having is, as y'all know, being anywhere from overweight to obese is, you know, a risk factor, is considered a core morbidity in regard to suffering if you catch that virus thing, you know. And the range is all in between that level of fattening. You know what I'm saying? It starts from overweight and it gets potentially super critical at obesity and beyond, you know. And basically what the doctors were saying, they were saying, yeah, Trump's pretty healthy. The only things he has that are, you know, making him more at risk is his age, and he's slightly overweight. That was a little tongue twist, a little play on words to lighten the blow or make it seem like it's not serious. Donald Trump is not slightly overweight. Donald Trump is at the least slightly obese. There's a huge difference between both of those, you know, titles. So that puts him flush in a risk factor territory in regard to weight-related risk, you know. He's slightly obese, not slightly overweight. I think they said he's like 6'3", 240. You know, you see he has a big ass gut. You already know. And speaking of slightly overweight and looking good and shit like that, word. Oh, you know what I mean? I've been dropping a lot of pounds. I actually copped some Hydroxycut to shed the weight loss. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, certain fat burners, they're most helpful when you've already like cut down. Like it's in the name, hydroxy cut. That's when you want to cut up and get, defined after doing just manual weight loss in whatever type of way you do it. That's pretty much where I'm at. I weigh like 217 at 6'6". So I just copped a bottle of that like a day or two ago. So, you know what I mean? Mess with that. Let that, help with the definition. Keep jogging, keep working out, all that type of stuff. And yeah, it'll be in effect. Rebellion is good. You know what I mean? Shit, even me. Like, if you really look at the American standard of weight, it's kind of bugged out. And the real bugged out thing is there's no just one template, one size fits all. Like the body mass index, like me, for example, 217 at 6'6". I think technically I am considered overweight, like slightly overweight. You know what I'm saying? Now, you could have somebody like, I don't know, let's say The Rock, who's approximately my height, maybe an inch shorter. He probably weighs like 270. I mean, it fluctuates. Sometimes he's skinny doing a movie. Sometimes he's, roided up doing a movie or a wrestler or whatever. At max, he might be 270 and he might not have any more than 5% body fat on him. Yet, if you look at his body mass index, it will probably say that he is overweight just by the numbers. So you can't really go by that too much. But in Donald Trump's case, I think you can. Just because you see it. You see that big stomach he has. You know what I mean? The Rock is about 6'4". Okay, here, like 2 inches less than me. With wrestling, they bill you a little taller than you really are. You know what I mean? Like Undertaker and Kane and all of them, they'll say they're like 7 feet, 6'9". You got to usually subtract like 2 inches off of people in wrestling. There's the build height and the real height. You know what I mean? So if I were wrestling, they would say I'm 6'8". Shit, people in the second niggas be going around saying I'm 6'9". I'm like, I ain't no 6'9". Well, shit, if I were 6'9", don't you think I would take advantage of that and have a whole campaign how I'm the real 6'9" and be doing all combine that with a whole music campaign and shit and everything. Shit, 6'6". That looks like Triple's block. Oh, nah, he's in Brooklyn. I'm in Queens. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, that train station line, like a lot of spots in the outer boroughs. Not really Manhattan that much, but Queens, Brooklyn, and the Bronx, they have like the overhead train station with the stairs, and they all like kind of look quite similar like that. So, you know what I mean? Especially on the Broadway line. Like Broadway is huge. The thing is, Broadway goes, I believe, through every single borough. Maybe not Staten Island. I don't even know. So, but yeah, I got to check up. See what the latest update they said on the president was. But the dude I know yesterday that was talking about his condition, he was like really elusive. They're asking him, so is the president receiving any supplemental oxygen? He did not receive supplemental oxygen on Thursday. Did he receive? So are you saying that he did receive supplemental oxygen at some point? Because you're saying he's not on it now. And the dude kept saying he did not receive supplemental oxygen on Thursday. Did he receive it on Wednesday? He did not receive. It's like they started asking playing a game with 20 questions on his ass. And then finally, the heat got too thick for the dude that was answering the questions. He just walked off on them niggas. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm out. Well, the pizza here is official. I remember right before I went on tour with Hyde, I had copped the whole joint from that spot right there. Their joints are official. Mad official. know what I mean? So I'm at the Midway Jog.
Sorry, I helped your mama.
So I don't be a fat ass myself. I think Trump is doing, let me see what he said. Undertaker's like 6'7". Yep. Sid Vicious were known as the skyscrapers. Word? I didn't know that. I know, I remember Undertaker, I know he used to work for WCW. And he used to be managed by, what's his name? My man Theodore Long. I remember that. Yeah, I didn't know he was skyscrapers with Sid Vicious. But yeah, perfect example. What do WWE book him as? Like 6'9" or some shit, I think? 7 feet, or maybe even 6'10", almost 7 feet, they'd be booking the Undertaker. Now Kane, you could tell, because if you ever watch Kane, you ever watch his big like slow man boots on. He be having boots with the thick heels going on. So I always noticed that with Kane. I always knew Kane was shorter than what they say he is. I think Trump is doing much better. You know, the mainstream news media is overhyping the situation, especially the liberal news media. You know, I don't know. To me, it's a mixed bag. I could see that they can overhype it where he's not doing as bad as they say he is, and I could also see them, even the mainstream news media, or not even the mainstream news media, more so the people close to the situation where he could be doing worse, and they're putting as much a positive spin on it as they can. And then from there, the mainstream news media might even try to make it worse than that. You know what I mean? So it might be like some old middle ground. It's the truth. I think Kane's like 6'5", he's just bulky. Yeah, that sound about right. It sound about what he is. I don't know. I ain't watched wrestling in a minute. Like my cousin, he be trying to put me on to that AEW. And I be trying to watch it. I be trying to watch that shit. I was a huge wrestling fan, at least on the WWE side of things. Shit, and the TNA side of things when that first came out. I tell you, I didn't miss a SmackDown from the year 2000, about like a year after SmackDown came out. I did not miss a SmackDown from like 2000 to like 2000, I want to say 9 or 10. Did not miss a single one. I would record the shit. Half the time I end up recording it on tape. You know what I mean? I might be out on the third. You know, the night used to be Thursday, then it would be Friday. Sometimes it would be Tuesday. So, you know, sometimes I wouldn't always watch it live, but I used to have in my closet mad VHS tapes just filled with SmackDown joints. But, you know, shit happens and stuff, you know. I moved out my crib, and then my homeboy that stayed at the crib, he alleges that it's in storage and the shit still exists. I had mad shit up in there, but he kind of got in a messed up situation where he was on some vagabond stick on a rag type shit, and I think he lost my shit. I think he did put my shit in storage and just got lost. I had mad SmackDown tapes. What else? Tape Raw too. I had mad figures. Like I was a big collector of the figures. Like the early 2000 joints, and some of them shits are worth mad bread. I had some era joints. I had this one Brock Lesnar where I think Brock was in the package. It was upside down or some shit like that. I looked that joint up. It was worth like 300 and something. I had one of those. I had like, you know, they'll have like series. They had a series called Ruthless Aggression. And I was collecting those ever since part 1. It'll be like maybe 6 to 8 people in a joint. Benoit's, you know what I'm saying? Back when Benoit was alive. Watching old wrestling for back in the day. I still remember as a boy, I used to watch ECW around 4 Saturday afternoon. Word. See, I missed ECW when it was like really popping because, you know, I didn't really have cable like that coming up. So, you know, I mean, the advent of the internet that put me on the ECW. I started fucking with that a little. But TNA, I was fucking with TNA when it like at its inception. I thought that shit was dope. They still around too, but they got pushed in what, 3rd, 4th position. You got AEW competing with WWE, and as I understand, Ring of Honor is even on a higher tier than TNA. Oh, it came on regular TV? Did it? Cause I sure would have tried to watch it. I think you're right, because I think I did hear something about, you remember when there used to be VHF and UHF? You know what I'm saying? And the UHF would be like, I don't know, kind of like the underground version of television. That's where Video Music Box used to come on and shit like that. Well, I don't know. Yeah, that's probably a New York thing, but it was VHF and UHF. And yeah, I think it came on UHF. Something. No. You know what it is? I know what it probably was. I wasn't fucking with wrestling like that at that time. That's what it was. Yeah. I'm like everybody else in my demographic. I was like a wrestling fan as a little shorty from like the 80s. You know what I mean? Hulk Hogan and all that, the golden era, you could say. But when after like 91, 92, pretty much like when I went to high school, like I just stopped fucking with it. And so from that time, I missed the attitude era. I just wasn't a fan of it around that time. You know what I mean? And then I got back into it circa 2000. You know what I'm saying? And it came out on Trenton, New Jersey. Came out of Trenton, New Jersey. Word. Paul Heyman. Yeah, that's what it was. I just wasn't fucking with the wrestling like that. Taz, he's an announcer for the AEW. I peeped that. Sit my ass down. I'm debating. I probably do a couple of pull-ups on that thing right there. I haven't done the pull-ups in a minute. Yeah, Taz does he does the announcing. Yeah, my man be trying to put me on all those joints, the AEW. Chris Jericho's in there. That's like one of my favorite cats. Oh no, don't fuck with me. I got stung by a bee, I think, for the first time like a month and a half, 2 months ago. You know what I'm saying? I was working out and shit just like sat on me. I'm trying to like lightly flush the little guy away, and then he just like stayed there like he was stuck. I was like, oh, you about to hit me with the venom. ECW had the best wrestlers. Yeah, WWE took a lot of shit from him. Stone Cold came from the Sandman, if I believe, right? And a few other people. The WWE just jacked their shit. You know what I mean? But that's with anything, though. Everything you're gonna find is gonna come from the underground. They take everything from the underground, and then a bigger thing will pull it and put it on a more grand stage. You know what I'm saying? And then to me, I think that's just like general principles of human survival and adaptation. You know what I mean? Because when you think of underground, you think of less resources. You think of people that got to be more creative for their survival. You know what I mean? Look at hip-hop. When hip-hop birthed in 73, 74, whatever. People plugging up equipment to lamp posts and DJing, you know what I'm saying? Not having resources. So your creativity sparks because you're going to do something that's going to have you adapt as a species, as a community, as whatever. So that's why with the underground, you'll find a lot of innovation. You'll find all the innovation. You know what I'm saying? So the suits at the board meetings and the big companies, I think that at their roundtable meetings, they discuss that. I think they know the game very well. They know the psychology of it and everything. And they say, yeah, I'm going to send you. I want you to go in undercover to these motherfuckers right there. Take your notes, see what you can see, report something back, I think that's how it works. More or less. But yeah, everything, remember that, all innovation, or 90+% of innovation, comes from down below, comes from the underground. You know what I'm saying? It's born of necessity, basically. Let's see, the majority were back and forth. I think Steve started. Steve Austin. Yeah, like the golden hair and shit, the blonde hair. But see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think, now granted, I wasn't watching it, but when I see old school clips, when Steve Austin had the blonde hair, he was on some long blonde hair shit. He wasn't on some, like, beer guzzling shit. You know what I'm saying? So Steve Austin started in WCW on some old other shit, some, I don't know, trying to be Quasar from the Marvel comic universe or some shit. And Sandman came in ECW and, fucked the whole, blew down the door of the game, started smoking bogeys and drinking beers. And Steve Austin said, word, pass me the mic. I said, I'll take it. And I ended up jacking this whole joint. That's how that happened. I guess I get off this thing in a hot second. I'm gonna do a couple pull-ups. Make sure I got my joint, yup. You know what I'm saying? The sanitizer, I usually like to bring the gloves out. Do a few pull-ups. Safran, what's going on with you? How you doing? I'm chilling. This is midpoint in my jogging. I'm gonna do 25 minutes one direction, 25 minutes back. Him and Brian Pillman with a Hollywood blonde. There we go. They were on some Hollywood blonde shit. You know what I mean? The Hollywood blondes. You know, I don't sound nothing like any Stone Cold shit. Word. Sandman came. Is Sandman alive? I hope so. Did he die? I hope he didn't. I know a homegirl. Shout out to her. She worked in the prison in where's she at? Massachusetts or Rhode Island? I think Rhode Island. And you know she worked CEO or CO or something to that caliber. And Sandman was there, and like she knew Sandman because he was locked up like not too long ago too, maybe like 5 years ago or some shit. And I think he got out, you know, not too long ago, maybe 3 years ago or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she would tell me about, you know, he was just a cool ass cat. Yeah, but Sandman is great. Now, to me, the best thing about all those old wrestlers, you look up the interviews of them. Like the interviews of them today, to hear them recap their old heyday stories, that shit is golden. That shit is amazing. I love that. Especially in Sandman's one of the greats. Him and New Jack. I like just hearing them talk their shit. This nigga Sandman, he did an interview with some dude that's a popular like old wrestler interviewer. This nigga was like drunk. He got drunk off his ass, so we literally sat on his ass, sat on the ground. And then the interview was like, "You all right? You want me to get you up?" "Oh, no, I'm good. I'm all right. Let's go." It was just hilarious. Beulah, McGillicuddy was married to Sandman. Okay, word. You know who had a bad wife? And we're going to get into them theories, too. Yeah, New Jack crazy for real. I fuck with that crazy nigga, though. Yeah, that's my man. Shout out to Mr. Young. Word. What's his name? But, what was I saying? Yeah, you know who had a bad wife? Before him, though. What was his name? Chris Benoit, but Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan had a bad wife, whatever her name. I forget her name. Not Wendy, Richter. What was Shorty's name? Kevin Sullivan's wife that later became Benoit's wife that he allegedly murdered. Nancy Sullivan, Nancy Benoit. Yeah, she was official, but what you call it? Now this is what I heard. You know, just to quickly summarize the Kevin Sullivan theory about the Chris Benoit murder. As I understand, Chris Benoit basically yanked Nancy Sullivan from Kevin Sullivan. You know, took his girl like a true player should. Only, you know, if the energy permits it, of course. So, you know, he took homeboy girl from him, or homeboy wife from him in this case. And Kevin Sullivan vowed to get revenge. And I forget what it was. The day that Chris Benoit allegedly did the suicide, it was 10 years after something. I forget if it was 10 years to the day that Chris Benoit married Nancy, or 10 years today that he said, "I'll take her," and jacked homeboy's wife. It was 10 years after something. But the way that the theory goes, it says that Kevin Sullivan, on that, you know, that time period, that was then 10 years later to the exact day that Chris Benoit was out of here, Kevin Sullivan vowed to kill Chris Benoit on whatever date this was. You know what I'm saying? Then 10 years later, you hear that story. Then another thing is, as I understand, there were text messages that were sent to homeboy, the Spanish homeboy, Guerrero, not Eddie, the other one, Chavo Guerrero. Allegedly, Chris Benoit sent Chavo Guerrero text messages, but the text messages were sent after it was reported that Chris Benoit was dead, some shit like that. And Chavo was on the phone with Chris Benoit right before the crazy shit happened. And he said that the reason they hung up the phone, or the reason why the phone got disconnected, is because Chavo heard commotion. Like someone was at the door, at Chris Benoit's door, and he went to go answer it, and there was some commotion and the signal hung up. So you take that for what you will, for anybody that want to check into that shit. Wanted to smash Francine and Sonny. Yeah, I heard Sonny was like the super pass around jump off. She had to have been young though, young, because I've seen like interviews of Sonny like recently where she seems to have only been like at most in her mid 30s. You know what I'm saying? Like 33, 35 or some shit like that. That might have been 5 years ago, to now, like 2015 or something. But she looked like real young, talking about these heydays of these 90s and all these dudes that she was rocking with. So, I don't know, 35, 2015, I don't know. Let me see, who did I like? You know who I like on some WWE shit? I don't hear nothing, hardly anybody. I like Jazz. Little short Jazz. With the bubble popping off. Yeah, I used to like Jazz. There's a couple of them that I fuck with hard. Oh, the other chocolate shorty, that was with the Samoans. She married one of the Samoan dudes, whatever them dudes' names is. I forget her name. She was like a dancing shorty for a minute or something. Man, what's her name? She married one of those Samoan cats that are twins. And you got this other one, whoever that girl is, whatever her name is, her partner, I heard she was on some like, who was also black, I heard she was on some like white dudes only type shit. So I was like, whatever. But that other one, the dark chocolate shorty, what was her name, though? I don't remember. Like, coming in now, yeah, them shits are dope. She's bad, right? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, she has. She was nice too. She's athletic too. I don't even know. She might even still be in the game. I don't even know. Yeah, she was dope. Let's see. I guess on that note, let me pull myself up here, and then finish this little jog. I might come back on a little later after I tighten up a little work I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Just shoot the shit or whatever. React to some videos on the thing. Might even throw a link out there so people can click it and just talk whatever about issues and stuff with Tone Space. You know what I mean? So, catch y'all later.